Roots. I'm Ray of Sunshine. That's what I'm going to talk about, roots, beginning with telling you about those roots. I'm out on my porch. I'm wearing my storm survival outfit still. We just got through the tropical storm, and now is the day of recovery in more ways than one. So I'm out here on my porch contemplating life and making big decisions. So I figured I'd tune you in to some of that and tell you about these roots, which are roots that I dig up from the pond to make my stump sculptures. And if you've been to any of the tours of my sanctuary, you met Aldo and Aurora and some of those guys, and this other guy here who I brought out on my porch. To give you another peek, he's becoming pretty popular now, or she. He's been on 3 or 4 different programs, and this plumage is part of that root system up there. So this guy here, let me give you a good look at him, because he still needs a name. And you have the opportunity to do something different and discover something different about you, and discover about how you deal with discovering different. Send me a name for this little guy, and see what that leads to. So I'm out here on my porch with my tissues, because my tissues come in handy out here sometimes, and they came in handy a little bit earlier this morning, which brings me to my next announcement about a friend of mine who I mentioned in a previous video, who I was once married to and is now going through a difficult transition with her husband. They've been together the better part of 30 years, and he's now passing on. So there's that difficult transition going on for them, and I want to take a moment of awareness and thank you all for being in that awareness with me, as I am in the awareness that these bumps happen all the time. Bumps, waves, big waves, small waves, and so I've been going through some waves myself, and one of the things I've been sitting out here contemplating is about how to respond to this invitation that I got, which is to a celebration of life event in honor of my sister who passed away in April. And we have not been in contact with each other for the past 20 years. Sort of recently, and that story is in one of my previous videos, I let go of the phrase, I don't know. So, my response at one time when I'm thinking about what happened there, what might have been, I don't know, but I'm not familiar with that term anymore. So, what happened is that we were like twins at one time. We actually presented ourselves as twins for the longest time, because we were 11 months apart. We looked a lot alike, we acted a lot alike, and we got along a lot alike. And so one day we were like that, and the next day we weren't. We had a separating of the ways, and enough difference of opinion that there was no longer a desire to be in contact with each other. So there's a lot of implications to that, and I was invited to this event, this commemoration service, and it's at the place. There's a lot of factors to consider. It's at the place where I grew up and spent my summers playing on the beach. And there's be people there that I won't recognize. I haven't seen them for over 2 decades, and then there'll be all of the offspring of that whole group, and the new kids running around, people that I don't even know, and lots of people that from my past, in lots of different areas of my past, all to face. So I was asking myself this morning about, I wonder what would be one good reason to go, and the answer came like that: to heal. there's a lot of water over the bridge, and now it's time to float to the top and look at it from a different perspective and to move on and to heal. Because there is no moving on without healing. And that's always the case. And sometimes, and healing is oftentimes a difficult process, but it's a process that brings freedom. The bird theme has been coming up a lot for me this morning, and lately in general. I was talking yesterday about the birds on my oracles. My playlist page is all my oracle choices, and this bird there, and the birds are messengers, and that bird has a big message. And then this morning on my porch, there's a bird that had came in through a hole and was stranded in here and was panicking and flapping up against the window and trying to get out. So I had a blanket over there, which I planned to put around him and bring him or her, I don't know why I keep saying him, over to back to the hole. And so I attempted that, and the bird got loose, and I had to go capture it again and bring it back over to the window and let it fly, and it didn't, and it took right off. And of course, I got this big message, but the first thing that came to my mind was how much I love to fly, because I used to dream about flying for years and years and years. Like when I was a kid, when I was in like 10, 8, 6, in all those years, my childhood years, I did a lot of dreaming, nighttime dreaming. I did a lot of daytime dreaming too, but I did a lot of nighttime dreaming, and flying was one of my favorite activities. So sometimes, I don't know, I think I would somehow create the dream. I would somehow put myself in a position that I'd have a flying dream that night. So I flew a lot, and I liked flying a lot. And I was reminded of that when this bird was flying, and the message that I got, because I get messages from the birds all the time. I'm going to get a message from this bird here, this bird that I showed you about. It doesn't have a name yet. I'm going to end up getting a message through that name. But I got a message, and that message was, it's time to fly. It's time to fly. And the question was, what's holding me back? Just like what was holding that bird back. What holding that bird was me. I was holding that bird in the blanket and keeping it from flying for its own safety till it was ready. And then when it was ready to fly, I let it fly. I was keeping it from flying. I was being restrictive. I let it fly. And so the message for me is, and the message for you is, to let it fly, right? Because it's playtime. And I have lots of stories about all the playtime that I've been involved with all my life, and all those previous videos back there, and all the fun things that I've done. But I've realized in all of those different roles that I've played, which is the same as all of the different roles that I play in the previous Ray of Sunshine videos. All the same Ray of Sunshine with different filters, different flares, different. And I realized that all that different made a difference depending on the focus. So depending on which series or segment or session that I was in, there had to be a certain focus. The focus determined the emergence of the characteristics. And as the focus changes, so do the characteristics. And so that'll make sense to you when you look at all of those videos back there, or one of those videos back there, because that's the whole point of this video series. If you go back there, you're going to see a different ray of sunshine, and you're going to see a progression. The progression to what's happening now. So what's happening now in my D series is I'm starting to get a little more colorful, and things are changing, and we're moving toward a discovery, a self-discovery. So I'm asking myself, when I'm realizing that there's different layers emerging and therefore different layers to let go, different elements to release. And I have lots of examples of those in previous videos too. Just letting go of stuff. So I realized that in that process, what I'm really uncovering is the me, the real me. Because I'm looking for the real me. So if you find me, let me know. But anyway, the stories that I'm talking about back there are the ones, all the fun things that I've done, my catering business and my calligraphy and all those different things. I repeat a lot of things, but I'm not going to repeat all those stories because you can see them over there, but they illustrate something. They illustrate that, something bubbled up and we became refined at, we became comfortable with, we became good at, we became masters of, and so that's the same process that's happening now. In addition to doing something different, to discover something different, because this is different, like we haven't seen before. So we're in the process of discovering that. So that's what those